Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
Beach FM, we pop through to the UK and say good morning to Chris and Karen Williams, who are on the telephone line. Good morning, folks. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
You're good.
You're good,
Good
are you?
evening.
That's. Oh, yes. Good evening. Good evening to you, folks. Have you been out clapping for the NHS? I believe that's happening at the moment.
Indeed, yes.
Yeah, and that happens every Thursday night, does it?
Yeah, every Thursday night at 8 p.m.
Great. And the racket is rather noisy, is it? I mean, does it ring Big Ben or something like that? That noise? Not quite. No.
The neighbour, yes, saw let off a firework. So,
the living daylights out of our cats, unfortunately.
I see, right, fair enough. Now, I believe that you've had your lockdown extended for 3 more weeks. How does that affect you?
well, basically it's going to be another 3 weeks. I think it's going to be longer than that. I think we won't finish until the end of May. They've decided that they're going to listen to the scientists. Scientists are happy that we can get out of lockdown, then so be it. The trouble is, if we go out of lockdown too early, we're just going to take a backward step. We've already had, we're at the 10,000, and almost 14,000 people have died so far, and it's not good. So they really want to be cautious about getting us out of lockdown. It's actually getting a way of life.
Yeah.
Yes, it's right around the world. Everybody's in the same dilemma. I mean, we're thinking of coming out of ours on next week, but of course there's a lot of people saying, hey, why don't we stay for another couple of weeks and get rid of this dash thing? And that's going to be the problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
So have you got the schools going back or anything like that? Are you going to resume that sort of business in your country?
Not yet. They're looking at each sort of industry and area individually, and they are saying possibly they might let schools go back soon, but as of next week, no, I'm still on a rota to go to school and look after key workers' children if I'm needed, but I haven't been told I'm going indefinitely yet.
Right. So, I see you're on standby for that job, are you, Karen?
Yes, I am.
Oh, right, okay. So how far would you have to travel to do that? I mean, have you got travel restrictions, or would you be classed as an essential worker, I suppose?
We don't really have travel restrictions around here, but I have got a letter from the head of my school and obviously my ID, if I'm stopped, to say, yes, I am an essential worker in this respect, so I'm able to travel.
Right. Now, rest homes and retirement villages, they seem to be very badly affected around the world now. How are they looking in the UK?
Not good.
The trouble is that the government have been giving us figures about where people affected and the number of people dying, but they have not taken into consideration the care homes and the rest homes. They've now done that. The figures have gone up quite dramatically. We're sort of approaching, there are about 1,000 deaths a day.
Wow. So is that because they didn't take action early enough in these particular facilities?
Yeah, exactly right. They didn't take action early enough.
Yeah, and a lot of the care homes are now saying we don't have the PPE equipment that we need, and people are just dropping like flies in care homes at the moment. It's really, really sad.
See, it causes a problem. I was thinking, I read somewhere where they were stacking up the bodies in a garage because they hadn't had any room for placing them anywhere else. So, I mean, that's getting quite serious, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is serious. They've got the problem of burials now. They're thinking they now have to bury people or do something with the bodies because you just can't keep them indefinitely because you don't really know when this thing's going to completely end and when we'll be free to do this stuff.
So is cremation a pretty big thing over there at the moment rather than burying?
Yes,
yeah,
it is, yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, unfortunately, our elderly neighbour succumbed to this. He was ill anyway, and he was in a home, but he was tested positive for the virus, and his wife was saying she's going to have him cremated, and when they're allowed to travel, he's Swedish, so they will take his ashes back to Sweden and then have a ceremony there.
So we've got a lot of rehabilitation to be had once, if we get rid of this virus, to happen in years to come, you might say.
Yeah.
It's interesting because there was an article last weekend on Sunday Telegraph Times, and it stated that New Zealand are sort of a country to be looked up in the approach that you've taken to coronavirus. You stopped it much more effectively than certainly England has in most of Europe. You have far more stringent rules and regulations and isolation policies than we do here. I think that's probably a good thing. So, countries are looking at New Zealand as a role model.
Yes. Mind you, we're far enough away from everybody, Chris, so now we've stopped the border, or got very strict border controls. That's helped out. We did make a bit of a mistake there at the start, not stopping people as they were coming back home again. So do you have border controls at your airports that are testing people as they come in?
We have border controls, yes. We do test people.
But we've got any flights coming in at all?
No,
and,
I should imagine Heathrow's rather quiet.
Sorry.
I should imagine Heathrow's rather quiet.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Gatwick, Luton, Glasgow, Manchester, they're all completely quiet, and you've got massive planes on the ground.
So the likes of getting food and supplies in for you folks, how do you go about that?
Well, it's still the same as it always is. It's kind of becoming a routine now. You go and queue outside a supermarket.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have to stop there. That is not my routine. I usually have my shopping delivered every week.
Right.
So I'm having to physically go and queue and walk around the store.
Okay, so you're allowed to do that, okay, because what, is that under the age of 70, is it, over there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. My parents aren't allowed to go out shopping. We do the shopping for my parents, and also our neighbour nearby who's physically disabled and can't get out.
Right.
So, yeah, we're allowed to go to shops as long as you keep your distance and you have to queue to get in and everything's sanitised. It's a very good system, doing very well here.
Right. So where are the deaths coming from when you think about it? I think you had another 780 last night, didn't you? Or yesterday, your time.
It's care homes.
And also, it's still the number of people in various parts of the country who just don't realise it's as serious as it is.
Yes.
There was an example of a bloke driving 170 miles just to apparently get away from his wife and kids. Police caught him and said, no, that's not a civil travel.
Right. Yes, I heard one excuse, I think it might have been in Italy or might have been France, where a gentleman was driving at 140, I don't know whether it's miles per hour or Ks, but he was getting away fast to get away from the virus. It didn't go down with the police, that excuse. So,
well, that's about as silly as it gets over here.
Yeah. Now, you've got to congratulate this World War II veteran, 99, he's turning 100 at the end of this month. Yes. He's done his 100th lap, and I heard they say 12 million, but I heard this morning on the BBC it might have been 15 million he's raised.
Yeah.
Bless him. He was a member of the Yorkshire Regiment in the war, and he's 99. And he's raised a lot of money. It's absolutely fantastic. But we're now pushing over here for him to receive a knighthood for his 100th birthday.
Oh, right. Of course, he won't be getting it from the Queen.
A Guard of Honour, the regiment that he belonged to, the current regiment gave him a Guard of Honour on his last lap.
Oh, yes.
At a sense of distance, of course.
Right, yes, fair enough too. And some of those gentlemen would be getting on in years, so we're lucky to be able to do it, wouldn't they?
Yes, absolutely. But we've heard rumours that he's now determined to keep going and do more than 100 laps.
Oh, good.
Good on him.
Yeah, fair enough too. Now, see, the London Mayor tells the city, wear a mask if you leave home. Is that going to become compulsory over there? We're sort of talking about it. We're looking at it, and looks like we may be coming into that area.
It's the same here. They're talking about it, and they just state at the moment that it could become a way of life. It's not a legal requirement, to do so. There's pros and cons about wearing a mask, Nigel. I mean, some of the experts say that it doesn't really stop anything, and others say, well, it does. If you happen to cough or talk to somebody, then the bits of droplets that may come from your mouth,
yes,
they get popped up at the mask. But you get people wearing gloves and things over here to stop the virus, touch their faces and things. But and it's just almost a human reaction. So it's a very difficult one.
It is indeed, yes. I'm sort of a wee bit for it, to be quite honest, because, as you say, you just have to cough. You only have to be, even 10 metres away, they're saying now, and you can spread the droplets. So I'm all for it.
I think wearing the mask inside the house is a really good thing.
All right.
Because it's due from eating.
Yes, that's dead right. All right, well, I better let you folks get away, and you've done your clapping for the day, and it's just a matter of battling down again and looking after yourselves. It's about the best way you can do it, isn't it?
Well, we're going back to the virtual pub quiz on again tonight. It's on every week.
Oh, yes.
He was on the BBC this morning, and he's now got over 500,000 followers.
Right.
We're going back to...
Yeah, you got to keep yourself occupied, that's for sure. And that is a big problem they're talking about here in New Zealand. Once we do come out of this, is mental health, and that's the same over in the UK, isn't it? They're worried about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also the trouble is when we look at it, economy of the country, so in this country and probably many countries around the world, including New Zealand, are going to have economic problems, and it's going to take a while to get onto the same footing we were on before this whole thing started.
Yeah, and I also feel sorry for the graduates or students who are studying to become whatever in their lives, and the jobs might not be there for what they're studying for. That's the other problem, isn't it?
Yeah, true. The good
right.
news is, passing note, just to finish, that our Prime Minister is now recovering happily in Chequers, his country home.
Excellent.
Here,
Yeah.
Not far from here.
Oh, right. And you've recovered, Chris. I mean, we spoke to you last week, and you had helped that elderly gentleman next door, and he did have the virus, and you've escaped it?
I have escaped it, yes. I feel perfectly fine, and, unfortunately he died, which is a great shame. He was a lovely gentleman, but yes, I was able to help him, but I didn't contract the virus, luckily.
Good on you. Okay, Chris and Karen, we thank you for your time. We might contact you again the end of next week just to see how things are going over there.
Brilliant.
Righto.
Stay safe, New Zealand.
Will do. There we are, Chris and Karen Williams from the UK.
106.3 Beach FM.